I am going to now hand things over to Addison, who will introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you all for contributing a few suggestions and notes from yesterday's event. I'll be back soon. Bye.
Thanks very much, Melissa, and welcome everyone again to day 2 of our summit. As Melissa mentioned, my name is Addison. My pronouns are they, them, and I am the training lead here at Realize. I'm excited to introduce you all to our keynote speaker, Alissa Assu. Alissa will be sharing her experience as an inclusive and accessible business owner who is also living with an episodic disability. Alissa is working to create safe and inclusive spaces for Indigenous people in competitive retail markets. She is the owner of Bare Essential Oils, as well as West Coast Wildflowers. Alissa, thank you for being here today and for sharing your knowledge and experience. I will pass it over to you now.
Hello, Denise, Skyze, Sakwaze. My name is Alissa Assu. I go by Ali. I am from the Wet'suwet'en First Nation, the Niska Nation, as well as my father was an immigrant. In our family, we used immigrant, although, the technical term we use these days is newcomer, is Vietnamese. So why do I always start off with introducing myself and fully, not just my Indigenous side, but also my non-Indigenous lineage and roots, is because there is a movement for, and whenever someone who is Indigenous has an opportunity to speak, there is a movement towards making sure that we're telling our full truth, and making sure that we share all of where we are from. And unfortunately, we're doing this. A, we're proud from where we are from, but also B, in recent years, it is a way to combat pretendians in our communities. And so I just wanted to share that because, not only am I wearing this hat of being inclusive and, disability awareness, my staff learning who I am as a person with disability, as well as we have those invisible and invisible at our workplace. So anyways, as Addison shared, I am both employee and employer, and I'm very fortunate that I am the founder of West Coast Wildflowers, as shared, Bare Essential Oils, and officially on March 25th, my husband and I will be 100% shareholder of a company called Raven Song Soap and Candle. My business partner is a Haida elder, and it's a really beautiful story that unfortunately, and in a good way, because it's teaching us as both, that in our transition, we actually learned about her disability that she didn't know in this transition. So not only as someone who's purchasing a company, I've also had to learn what does that look like from a business relationship. But anyways, so that's about me, that's about my companies, and I would love to speak to you about some of the things that we've implemented. Any of the stories that I'm sharing are shared with permission from my staff. We sat down yesterday and had a quick meeting of whose story I can share, what I can share. And one of the things, the reason I feel like for my team is I've always been open with my team. Communication, I feel like in this world, so many things, I'm sure a memory or an event or a person or a family or a friend will come to mind when I say this. But so many things in this life that are beautiful are ruined because of miscommunication. And that I have always been very open with my team They see me go and do public speaking events. I bring often my Indigenous youth and my BIPOC staff with me, young women who are 16 to 22 to events. Why is this important from an employee to employer, and also bringing them with some of our adult staff, is giving them an opportunity to show that it's okay to use their voice. We need to be able to give people an opportunity to be in experiences that will allow them to know that disclosure, voluntary, and that that they can build trust in me as their employer, and knowing that what they disclose is confidential. I won't tell anyone on my team unless they want, unless they want to know. So how did this start, and why was I inspired to start some of this in my workplace? I was making transitions for myself, and one of my employees who is actually retired, an early retirement, very young, very early retirement from Correctional Service of Canada. I can't share the stories that they have lived with that experience. However, this woman is brilliant. She's kind, she's beautiful, she's smart. And unfortunately, she suffers from not only mobility issues post Correctional Service of Canada, but she also suffers from deep, deep PTSD. And once a week, she, there's another staff who, has to do blood transfusions once a month at our hospital here. So for those, because a blood transfusion takes so long and she's just sitting in the hospital, we've given her flexibility. Great. You can either read a book, listen to an audio time, and we're going to pay you for that time to be there. Or if you feel well enough, great, answer some emails or do some social media contests, because it's only an hour and a half at the end of the day. And as someone who has spent, during the birth of my son, 156 days in hospital straight, I can say that sometimes it's nice to have that escape. So you're alone. You have lots of time. Time is unfortunately your friend in the hospital. And so for our staff with PTSD, same thing. We have actually implemented some things at her house, whether it is sorry, I'm blanking for words, a lamp. We've bought her special headsets. And, at night, I even take care of my employees because the tiniest thing will wake her up. So, once a month, we replace her, sorry, I'm pointing at my ears, her earplugs. So just small micro things that a company might say, that seems silly to replace a staff member's hearing. But I argue that, does this contribute to my staff's well-being? Does this contribute to my staff's overall time with her family so that she can show up to work and do and help create beautiful Indigenous stories? If the answer is yes, great. Some of the things as an employee that I'm very proud to say is there are moments when I need to talk to someone. I need to, I'm a young Indigenous mom with two. We've recently adopted a daughter. I am a former youth in care. I, had a kidney transplant at 19. They're in and out of foster care. There's a lot of stories. There's a lot of generational healing that I need to do to show up. And I truly believe that some of the generational healing and counseling can, I think, put so much on our bodies. And that's just my personal belief. In saying that, we've curated a room at both of my store locations for my staff to step out and take a counseling call and pay them for half of the time that they're in counseling. Because for some of our youth, there isn't a safe place for them to do that at home. For some of our single moms that work for us, they are not, after work and grocery shopping and, my gosh, being a mom, being a parent, and being able to shut all of work off on top of your disability and just have time for yourself. And if I can't have moms who don't have the capacity, I need to make that capacity internal. And we've noticed a reduction in turnover. We've noticed a reduction in some of our moms being able to like take on more capacity at work. We've noticed, so in the room, they are soundproof. So, ensuring confidentially, ensuring that they can stay in there. It's very small. It's not a luxury room. It doesn't need to be. It's a room with some water, some tissue, some pens, some pads, and extra journals in case they forget their journal. And so, that's some of the things that we implement at work. Some of the things that, as I was entering, I was shaking my head because it was so relatable to me. I have a couple staff members who simply just say one word. They don't need to write a full sentence. They just say, I'm taking a body. Sometimes they'll just say body day, or I'm taking a body day. And I know when they say that body day could mean anything that is going on with them. We also have at work, because there's only so many sick days, there's only so many holidays, and we want to really make sure that our team is able to also, with their invisible disability and physical disabilities. I have, for example, one staff member whose son is blind, doesn't speak, and is bound to a wheelchair. And so they need extra prep time if they go to any events, any cultural events. They need extra days if they need to do anything, really. And so a part of that is allowing, this is new, we're implementing this. This is a new trial. But that when she's at, hospitals with her son at Children's, that she can take like a full flex day at the hospital. Another thing is that we also have, even to our non-Indigenous staff, because they are doing the work and they are learning about our Indigenous culture and history and generational healing, to our non-Indigenous staff, we offer cultural days as well. And that can be used to attend events at, my gosh, I'm thinking of examples in Vancouver, because that's where I'm most familiar with outside of Campbell River, is if there's an event at the Croatian Cultural Center, if there is a Black women-owned community event, great. Go and do that. We do encourage that 3 out of those 5 days are used to go to BIPOC events to learn. My staff is like always proud to send me photos. But yeah, just making sure that they are reflective and learning about things around us, so that we can continue. In the past, we had shared experiences, and today we have shared experiences. And I feel like that is relevant for our disability. So our staff, in addition, some things that we have implemented in the back is quiet space. So in addition to the room, we also have noise cancellation headphones, and a room in the back that is not where the inventory is. It's not where people are running and going. It literally is its own room where quiet space can happen if they just like really need to focus. I have with, not only with my kidney transplant, some of the things that you wouldn't know about me is, taking injections into my stomach every 2 weeks so that I can reduce the amount of blood transfusions that I have a year. as well as severe ADHD, and discovering that in your 30s while also trying to implement all of these great things for your team is just know that, I never want to, lead with, I know what's best and I know everything, but that just as a mom and just as a human and just with someone who's learning how to navigate and knowing with, I think the benefit is as a boss and an employee, having that lived experiences. I think one of the beautiful things any company can work towards, and certainly what I'm working towards, that I feel like is a superpower, is we need more people in positions of power with invisible and invisible disabilities. And why? Because it's very difficult to ask someone to have compassion. It's very difficult for someone to truly understand what it's like to have a lived experience. And I feel like those at the top, if they have, a loved one, we all know someone. If you have a loved one, your own lived experience, what better person to help create policy? What better person to come up with visionary and creative and big dreams of how we can change our workplace for the better. And I'm so honored to be here today, especially given the climate that the world is at. And I don't like to speak politics, but I think now is a beautiful time if you live with an invisible or visible disability, to own that space, to take it, to make it your own. I was so embarrassed and shame. And of course, I've learned that shame from just simply being an Indigenous woman in our history. And so, some of the healing work of doing that has been able to ripple effect into my other areas of my life. And that means being proud of, unfortunately, my hearing aid is actually being charged right now, but that is something I didn't share on the call. Is for years and years, I struggled miscommunicating with people. We could be talking about Disneyland, and I will be talking about Mexico. Like my hearing was very, and I just thought it was normal. I just thought maybe rooms were too busy, and so just recently I have learned that I've lost 90% hearing in my right ear, and now that I know that, that means I can focus on other people's lips. Now that I know that, when one of the things that we carry at our business that I think is so cool, and some of our staff wear the pins, and I'm not at work yet, so I'm not wearing it. But during our work staff hours, we have disability pins. We're all sold out right now, and so we're waiting on our second shipment, which should be here around April 2nd, because it is someone who's living with a disability who curates these pins that we support. And so we have everything from autism to hearing impaired. And it's just something like nice that I feel like we're so busy in the world, and so much going on, that I think sometimes we forget that our neighbor, and by our neighbor, I literally mean anyone you see in the grocery store. I literally mean the mailman. All of our neighbors around us and in our community, we all have something going on. But I think I want to begin storytelling, and storytelling is so important in Indigenous communities, and that's why we're so proud to have something simple as pins at our store, is because it allows storytelling to happen. And what does storytelling do? It curates more opportunities to bond us together, and it curates more opportunities for us to continue to have shared experiences and shared stories. And that, yeah, and those are just some of the some of the things that we do as a leader, as someone trying to be a leader, as someone learning how to be a leader uncomfortably. That if I have anyone in the room that is transitioning into a leadership role that's in this call right now, is I think I hope that this has been slightly influential on you and how we can change things at work. And so much of our work is possible through working at home now. I think the pandemic showed that. While I don't highly promote working and living at home all the time, I certainly think that companies can start with at least one day a week. Sometimes I do it at home and it's great. I have a travel nurse that comes to my house. And so while I'm working, I have a travel nurse that comes to my house once a month and does my kidney transplant blood work. So that I don't have to go to, the hospital, increase my chances of getting sick because I don't actually know. We go there for a place of help, but it's also a place where instead of waiting 4 hours at the hospital, what a beautiful time for me to be able to just have a calm morning and to drink some coffee and to do 7-minute quick meetings with my team and make sure hey, what's going on in the store, but B, what's going on with you? And sometimes I find that my staff members, they just need someone to have 60 seconds or, a couple of minutes just to listen. I think, and so that's what I try to do. I just try to listen. And I wish that for everyone on this call. And if you're living with a disability, knowing that there are people who want to listen to you. And I hope, Addison, you've popped up on my screen. So does that mean my time is running, or have I severely run out?
No, your time is not running out at all. I was just going to say that you do still have about 10 minutes left. And we are getting a lot of reaction from the audience and even some questions in the audience. I was just popping on to see if you would be interested in answering some of those questions while we have you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Awesome. So the first question is, Sarah just wants to know if you can share the name of the business that makes the disability pins or a link to the product.
Yes, I can. Can I? I'm not logged in because we have
No
two
problem.
girls. Yes, I. Uh, while I look for this, do you want to ask me the next question?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll also open the floor to the audience. So if anybody else would like to ask Allie anything, please feel free to throw it in the chat there.
Please give her a lot of love. She even has a pin that says, "I have an invisible disability." So start those conversations. Oh wait, I only shared it with the panelist.
No problem. I'm sharing it right now with everybody else.
Okay.
In the meantime, somebody else asked, Alissa, thank you for sharing. What you have set up for yourself and your employees is amazing. Do you have any resources, support, or guidance that you access on your journey to creating an inclusive space that you could share with us?
Yeah, of course. So, who is anyone without their mentors? Who is anyone without aunties and elders and leaders who've done it before? Before I even started opening a business, I actually went out and I sought Indigenous women and non-Indigenous leaders that I thought was inspiring. And I slid them a message because I wasn't aware of opportunities like Women Entrepreneur BC. I wasn't aware of opportunities like SVI and the Hollyhock Institute. I wasn't aware of Coralus. All of these opportunities. And so I looked internally. Into my circle and my community and who I could ask for someone to ask. And I became very fortunate that, that I can reach out anytime to Patrice at Satya, who's an Indigenous-owned company, B Corp, first Indigenous woman, fun fact, to be accepted into Shoppers all across Canada. But I do have two elders that I go to regularly, and they are kind of the guiding principles. Because there's things that I need to be aware of. Do I have staff that are aging? So not only that, but yes, I have a lot of business coaches and a lot of mentors in different areas. And if that's the one thing I could recommend on this call, is diversify your mentors. Make sure that you are not just getting a mentor that you are familiar with in your community or your setting. Broaden that. That's going to be the most beautiful and impactful thing for you. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Ali. We have another question here. For those of us keen to bring more storytelling to the world, where can we start if it feels overwhelming? Thank you.
Oh my goodness, this is a good one. You know what I do? And I'm just going to, because what's my better answer than just to tell you guys what I do? I listen to podcasts, and I will literally just sit on my couch. And sometimes I will only write one word on like a blank piece of paper, and I kind of mind map it. I'll build clouds. I will build, one time I built kidneys walking to my next thought. But one of my thing is it helps you organize your thoughts. And once you have that organized story, and sometimes I'll share that with my husband. Sometimes I'll share that with someone that I truly trust, because sometimes you get so stuck in your story and how to tell it and how to show up and trying to sound, how should I sound? That you get lost in the point. And the point is your story. The point is to share your lived experience. The point is, does this make plain sense to someone if I'm sharing it? And I think the most important part is collectively we need to start organizing our own thoughts so that we can better communicate. We can better, show up for yourself and for others.
Thank you. We did have a raised hand in the audience.
I love questions. That means I'm doing something right.
Yes, absolutely. No, you're getting a lot of feedback here. We have somebody named Kaylee in the audience with their hand up. Kaylee, you can unmute yourself and go ahead and ask your question if you would like to.
Hi, I am so sorry. I went to use the react button and then I hit the raise hand button. So
No,
sorry.
no problem at all.
Amazing.
Okay, thank you.
Presentation.
Thank you. All right. So Ali, somebody in the audience said, so glad that you mentioned elderly. I have a mother recently diagnosed with dementia, and it has upheaved all our world. It has made me see the world, services, and employers so differently.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That is unfortunately, I feel like I'm getting time robbed from me, is something that I can say, because that is currently something that my husband and I are going with his mother, is not only running a business. We also have a staff member who has just lost a family member, one of their aunties who was their favorite auntie. We always have a favorite auntie. I know we're not supposed to, but I feel like we always have a favorite auntie. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for being comfortable to share that in this space. And just know that the way that we are processing it, and the way that we are handling it is sometimes I literally just sit at home with my mother-in-law and work all day. And that I encourage you, if you need to do that, ask your employer. Is my family's going through this really difficult time. I really want to make sure that I'm there for my family and make sure that I'm honoring myself and my integrity of how much family is important, but I'm so grateful to work here. Would you consider even just one day a week to start. And that way, at least it opens the door for conversation of, I need 2 days a week, and then, and because all we have is time. And yeah, so wishing you well, and thank you for sharing that.
Thanks for saying that, Ellie. One of our speakers yesterday is a small business owner in Ontario, and basically every time she was talking, she kind of went full circle and ended up back on the concept of compassion. So having compassion for your employees and having compassion for what their experiences are is a really good way to lead your business into a good way, right? We have a great question in the chat directed for you. So somebody said, "Hi, Alissa. I am thrilled to listen to your message today, as well as your tips on how to deal with disabilities, especially related to transplant. I'm a liver transplant recipient and work mostly from home to avoid getting contaminated with viruses. I was wondering, how do you deal with having to come up, or sorry, with how do you deal with having people come up to you too closely when you are in a professional setting without having to push them away too abruptly or having to explain your immunosuppression? If you don't,
Yeah.
if you're comfortable sharing your answer to that question."
Hey, I volunteered my husband, and now his face is on the back of every Vancouver bus right now to be an organ donor. And my poor husband, if any of you guys knew him, he doesn't talk much. So, I had a prep call with Addison, and a part of that call was, I really wanted to know if there was anyone in the audience that was going to have a transplant. I was like very eager to know, because I it's like talking to someone who gets it. For me as a presenter, it's knowing that like my words and what I share, people understand deeply. And for it's been difficult trying to become this powerful, new generation Indigenous leader, and knowing that sometimes I have to go in public, and that I have understood now. I've had 4 major hospitalizations since I've been a business owner, for blood infections, a simple influenza, a common cold. Actually, I'll share this. A common cold from someone hugging me at a community event. I was actually just in hospital for 10 days before presenting. I literally just got out last Saturday. And so I deeply feel what that's like. And so when I am at events and I'm at public events, I will have like a little kidney pin. But not only that, in my full-on business suit, I will wear donate your organ, because I'm constantly always trying to send the message. It should be no reason in Canada that anyone we know passes away from organ, at least kidney transplant. I can't say the same for everything else, but kidney and liver, there's no reason anyone in our country should pass away when it's something that is so fixable. And so that's one tip. I use my transplant shirt, which then, of course, what happens, it begins storytelling. I've had people register to become an organ donor on the spot with me. The other thing that I do is, if I'm attending an event, I always make the event organizers aware, so that the second virus, unfortunately, that I picked up was actually having to share a public bathroom. And I am not embarrassed about that. This is real life, that immunocompromised transplant patients, if you need a private bathroom, can you make sure that the chairs, or at least people around me at my table, know? But now I can't afford for people not to know. After spending so much time I'm 33. After spending so much time in the hospital, I've just taken the ownership myself. And I hope whoever is listening to this takes the ownership that your life is worth everything. My kids need me. My husband needs me. my nieces and nephews that aren't even born need me, and that there are people in your life that need you, and that honor that, respect that, and be proud to share it, and that only benefits the whole transplant community because there's a whole community behind you. Yeah.
Thanks again, Allie. That brings us to 12:45. If
Okay.
you have time or feel comfortable or feel like sticking around, there are a couple more questions in the chat that you can pop in
Yeah,
there and answer if you feel like connecting further.
sure.
Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And I'm so glad to hear that you are out of the hospital and hopefully um, continuing to improve. I'm going to pass it back over to Melissa now, who is going to be introducing our next speaker. Thank you again, Allie.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me, and making space for young voices to be heard at a leadership table, Indigenous women voices to be heard. And I hope that this presentation, and please reach out to me during LinkedIn if you have further questions, or even if you are like, Allie, I have a recommendation. I don't know it all, and I would love to hear what things that, I even heard some beautiful things that Melissa, you shared as I was stepping into the room, that I don't know it all, and it takes community to know everything. So please, as much as I've shared, please share your suggestions with me. Tabby Masai, thank you so much for taking time to listen to me today.
Thank you so much, Allie. That was truly just an open-hearted moment of sharing, and that's the space that we're trying to create here, especially on this day 2, where we center the voices of people with lived experience, where we really invite these kinds of conversations, sharing stories, to be at the forefront of what we're doing. So thank you. It's lovely to see you.